Okay, more technical difficulties. Let's see, who all's on? That seems about right. All right. Welcome everyone. Sorry for the Okay. Hey everyone. We're gonna wait a few minutes. I think I messed it up again. Let me tell you, trying to be your own cameraman is not the answer. Five people are on right now. 7. Go ahead and say hi in the chat if you're watching. Hey, Tim, Juan, how you guys doing? Tanya, hey, I know Tanya. Chuck telling me can't access it, probably my fault. Technical difficulties again. So if anyone knows someone trying to access it, tell them to go to youtube.com/Therafin Corporation. And they should see this current live video up and running. Oh, Tim, asking how I am. How kind of you. I'm doing very well. We had 70-degree weather this week, and now we have 30 to 40-degree weather, and I think it's supposed to snow at some point. So I don't think Illinois can figure out what season it is quite yet. Pretty sure the rest of the nation can relate. I know they actually got snow today in Wisconsin, so I'm happy I'm not that far north. All right, a few more people tuning in. Tim says it's very consistent that way. Yes, it is. All right. Well, hello, everyone. There's 10 of you here. I think there were others still trying to tune in at my original link, which, to be honest with you, I started at the original link and immediately ended it on accident. And then I had to create a brand new link. So, oh, what fun it is to be both the sound man and the cameraman and the guy behind the camera. So, trying to figure all that out last minute. I think eventually we'll have this down to a pat. Until then, everyone can bear with me, I hope. So, if you can't tell from this video, and if you didn't tell last week, I am in my basement. And my basement, as you may be able to tell behind the facade that I have created with this nice plant and this nice painting, is unfinished drywall. And above my head, which I'm embarrassed to show, so I won't, is a very unfinished ceiling with unfinished ductwork, unfinished electrical, pretty much unfinished everything. There's a door connected to no hinges over here to my right. There's another door barely connected to hinges over here to my left. And yet a third door not connected to anything on my direct left. And then in the middle of all that, there's a TV stand with a black-brown bag of randomness. So I truly am living in a whirlwind of chaos down here, and hopefully I've managed to make it look nice and pretty for this video with what little I have to create a facade. So I have this nice red carpet, and I have some product. And if you notice, I actually have some new product here from last week. So I went and I got another seating system. Hopefully I can show a few different variations of some of the items that we do at Therafin. And in front of me, which is difficult for you to see now on camera, but I'll make sure you get nice up and close and personal, is a totally different product. And it's actually, we're going to spend a little bit of time today on this product. I'm actually going to assemble it in front of you, ideally fast, so that you can see a product that is outside of the norm, and how quick it is to assemble, and some of the different uses that we'll see it's used for right now in the world of adaptive sports. So just going to check these. Dwayne, hey, basement needs a green screen. Come on, Dwayne, I'm doing my best here. You know, I bought this fixer-upper in March of last year, and we've been renovating for 12 months, almost 13 months since March of last year. And so we did the whole upstairs, redid subfloors and walls and electrical and plumbing, and we're about 50% of the way done downstairs. And now it's almost the yard work season. So who knows what'll come first, the chicken or the egg. But eventually we hope that each of these projects will be done. And then, Dwayne, I don't need a green screen. So my green screen is right here, this green plant. So I wanted to ask, and you guys can feel free to comment here. Hi, Mike Kaplan. Thanks for joining. Feel free to comment on the thread while I'm talking. I'll be peering over to my phone here. If you're wondering why I'm peering at my phone so frequently, it's because my laptop is way over there and my chat box is right here. So I can see you guys interacting with me, and I can respond in real time. So today I am going to focus a little bit on the wheelchair and the seating system that you see over here. I focused on that quite substantially last week, and you'll actually see that in service in the video library of our YouTube. So if you're interested in going back and viewing that, you're welcome to. This one will also be archived in the YouTube library. So if you have to leave early or you're tuning in halfway through, not to worry, it will be in the library. So let's see, where do I start? Does anyone know what boccia ball is? That's what some of the main topic is going to be on today. Boccia ball. You may be thinking, why is he pronouncing bocce ball that way? Well, I'm actually not pronouncing bocce ball. So bocce ball, an Italian sport, everyone likes to play a good game of bocce ball in their backyard during a good barbecue on a nice cool summer day. But what I'm referring to is the actual adaptive sport of bocce ball, and it's called boccia ball. It's B-O-C-C-I-A. And over 50 countries compete in the Paralympics every 4 years playing boccia ball. There are 4 to 5 classifications of players, and one of those classifications, I won't get into all the nit and gritty of each of those, but one, we call it the BC3, and they are heavy quads, typical either cerebral palsy, spinal cord injury, injured vets. We see a lot of VAs competing in this sport at that level. They require to play a ramp. Imagine a bowling ramp. If you guys have ever seen either a child using the bowling ramp or an adaptive bowling, you also have a very similar ramp to actually release that bowling ball. Well, that's actually what we're going to talk a little bit about today as it pertains to boccia ball. So boccia ball is just like bocce ball. There are 2 teams. There's the red team and the blue team. And unlike bocce ball in a backyard where you have lacquer wooden balls, and they're pretty big, a bit about the size of maybe a softball, so a little bit bigger than a baseball, you'll have a small ball, the jack ball, that one of the 2 teams throws out wherever into the yard. And then those 2 teams would compete with the 4 colored balls that they each have to get as close to that jack ball as possible. Now, in backyard bocce ball, I don't think it's called the jack ball. I think there's a different name for it. But for the sake of today, I'm going to call it the jack ball because that's what boccia, the adaptive sport, calls that ball. So in boccia ball, again, played by over 50 countries competitively in the Paralympics, you have different types of gameplay. You have one-on-one, where each classification that I referred to earlier would compete with someone else in their classification. So the BC3 or a ramper, like we're going to talk about, would compete against another person that uses a ramp. If you have someone, we call them throwers. They're not quadriplegics necessarily, but they are in a wheelchair. But they have enough tricep or shoulder mobility to throw a ball either overhand or sometimes underhand. You'll have those types of players competing against each other. We even have some classifications where people are kicking the ball. We've seen sort of all the gamuts of different types of gameplay. And in Brazil at the Paralympics this last time, there's really some phenomenal different ways to play the game. But when Paulino, yes, Tim, that's what it's called. And bocce ball, that's what that tiny little, it's metal, I think. To be honest, I don't know much about the traditional bocce ball, so I won't put my foot in my mouth too much. But thanks for that, Tim. So where was I? So bocce ball, if you've ever seen a competition, there are typically 8 to 12 courts set up. And I'll put a little plug in here right now. We actually have a new product. If you visit gravityboccia.com, if you guys want to look, I'll put that in the link right now. If you want to kind of peruse some of those products while I'm talking, feel free to. Gravityboccia.com is our brand. It's Gravity Boccia by Therafin Corporation. And we have a brand new product. It's actually a court. To play boccia ball competitively, you have to be on some sort of either epoxy flooring or cement flooring or basketball court, for example. So many of these big competitions will be in large auditoriums, and they'll have court here and then a court here and a court here, kind of lined up in rows. Traditionally speaking, they would be set up with tape, and you'd have very strict measurements to figure out where the boundary lines are, where the foul lines are. I won't get into all the specifics of what that means, but there are articles on gravityboccia.com that you can view. And what the administration or the staff or the reps or even the referees would do prior to the tournament is they'd set up these courts and they'd set up the boundary lines, and then you'd have 8 to 12 to 24 games going on at the same time. I've traveled to Texas, to Kansas City, to Japan and Korea and China and Slovakia or Czech Republic and Spain and Portugal, all over the world to play this game as a sort of qualifier for the Paralympics. So why am I saying all this? This is all context to say that in our industry, as you see the end users, whether it's in a VA or a homebound wheelchair user that might be paraplegic, quadriplegic, this is a huge and very up-and-coming sport that if you haven't already heard of, I'm confident you will hear of it. So the VA, that's kind of where we're seeing the most growth in this sport. Many VAs I've personally stepped into, or some of our Therafin reps have gone into, either already have our boccia equipment or are just now figuring out boccia is big, boccia is growing, and the veterans want to play it. So where do we get this equipment? Right now, we are the only commercial American manufacturer of boccia ball products. And I want to put a little disclaimer there. There might be one I don't know of, but to my knowledge, we are the only American commercial manufacturer. A lot of these boccia products in the past, people have been paying to ship overseas from some of the countries I just named, as far as South Korea to Portugal and everywhere in between. And oftentimes we're spending hundreds of dollars just on shipping. But all of our products are free shipping to 50 states and Puerto Rico. And so you're already saving money on the freight alone. And really, it's just, they're well made. We didn't just pull this out of thin air. We actually spent 1, 2, 3 years developing some of these products to make one that works and to make one that competes and actually wins in these games. So we have veterans, Joey Avalon, if you're familiar with him, he has some of our products. We have people kind of reps or loyal users of our products, entire teams using our boccia products. So The last national game I went to, where there were 8 or 12 different matches going on, I looked around and I sort of saw our product all over the place, which is really exciting because, again, just a few years ago, everything was coming from overseas. So you're really finding American boccia playing increasing substantially. So with that, I have this complex device, and I'm gonna push this camera down while I actually assemble this on video. Bear with me because this is going to be pressure on type deal. Let's see here. All right, how do I get this facing down? There we go. Oh. Don't judge me, Dwayne. I know the floor looks like crap. Okay. There we go. That's good enough, huh? So this is a case that is designed by Therafin, and as you can see, it's high quality. It's nice foam. You have each part nested where it's supposed to go. You can't put the ramp in incorrectly. Either it goes in the right way or it doesn't fit at all. It's sort of like an egg carton. You can't put the egg in sideways. You got to put it in the right way. It is watertight and airtight, so it's actually the same caliber case that you would get heavy machine gun type of artillery in at the military weapon or the military grade weaponry. So really, really high quality case. We do sell this on the Gravity Boccia website as well. But the nice thing about this hammer ramp, it's called the hammer that I'm going to show you, is actually this is all included. So when you buy a hammer, you get the case. So like I said, it's watertight, it's airtight. I want to make sure I'm not missing comments here. Ralph says howdy, howdy Ralph. So you take it out, and what you see here is you see a little map. You see how do I assemble it? What does it look like? What part does what? How do I get this ready to play? Okay. So the idea is anyone can open this case and they can figure out how to put it together. So when you have these boccia ramp users, obviously we're referring to quadriplegics. We're referring to people who probably won't be able to assemble this themselves. And the nice thing about a BC3 player in boccia is they have something called a ramp assistant. And so when they're in a few minutes. So I'm going to open this here. So here you have the base, okay? The base is a mixture of aluminum, some sort of gooseneck type extendable, retractable, telescoping feet. You have level devices here, so you can go up and down and level as necessary, especially on a floor like mine right here. You have a sort of Lazy Susan 360-degree swivel. You have these tightening mechanisms here for these legs, like I said earlier. You have a lot of different hardware going on down here to make sure it's built well. And then you have this little tool here. Oh, this is in the way. Here we go. That we actually have a little hole here. So you have this tool and you have everything you need sort of nested right there together. So I might need to change my angle here again so you guys can see this in its creation. But what you do, so you see there, I just kind of let the feet out there. I'm pretty level here as it pertains to what I'm doing at least. And then I'm going to open this here. You guys can't see, so let me come down a little bit. And there we go. Oh. Nice. Thank you, technology. So then what I do at that point, I have my base set up. After I have my base set up, I'm going to take this out. Let's move all this together. You can see here. So I have this this foam piece covering some more pieces. And I'm going to take a few of these out so I can show you how to actually assemble the ramp portion to the base. So let's see, how do I want to do this? This is when someone that actually was holding the camera would come in handy. Got my slippers here. So here's the ramp, okay? So this this stake, this pole will actually go in to the base like so. And you see it's not yet secure. That is when this tool that I pulled out earlier is going to come in handy. If I can find it. Here it is. I pulled it out, didn't put it back. So if you guys can imagine, because I don't have someone to show you this part, there is a spot here to tighten this so that the actual ramp is going to be secure in the receiver. So right now I'm tightening it. And you might ask, well, if you tighten it, you're not going to be able to move the ramp around. Well, that's why the whole base. So it's tight on the base, but the entire base is going to swivel. So that's the point for that Lazy Susan type base, okay? Then you have this, okay? Let's see if I can give you some better angles here. There you go. So the ramp, if you can imagine with me, I don't have a bocce ball with me. This is the beauty of having all this in my basement and not being at the shop. There's a bocce ball. The bocce ball is different in bocce ball compared to bocce ball in that they're actually sort of heavyweight hacky sacks. They're leather bound. They have beads inside of them. They're squishy, so they're not anything like a bocce ball played in the backyard, and that's because they're on courts, typically a basketball court. So you want them to roll, but stop at a certain point. If it was a wooden ball, it would sort of just roll infinitely. So you have this. It is adjustable, which makes it really nice. But the thing that I want to point out that sets this ramp apart from many competitors is when you adjust this portion, you see it's going up and down, it's going up and down. I want to point out the distance to the floor here at the bottom. That's, of course, where the ball is going to come out of the ramp. That distance, regardless of my angle adjustment here, is not changing at all. That's something that we created. That's something we designed and engineered, because what we found is all of these players are adjusting quick pace, really fast, with minimal time to think. And what they want is they want the smallest distance possible from the tip of the ramp to the floor, such that sometimes it's so close to the floor that a referee will actually ask, they'll give the person a piece of paper and they'll say, I need you to sweep. What they do is they put the piece of paper under that part of the ramp just to verify that it's not touching the floor. So at the beginning of the match, a ramp player will get it as close to the floor as possible. They'll sort of lock it, and that way it's done. They don't have to mess with it for the rest of the match. But they might still want to mess with this angle. So this design gives them the ability to be close to the floor, but still with angle adjustment. So once you get that angle adjustment, you actually have some locking mechanisms here to secure the ramp, which I'm going to do right now. And there's these locking mechanisms so that you don't have to hold it the whole time, which would be a nightmare. I can actually do this here. There we go. So you see these are what I'm using here to secure this angle adjustment. And while I'm assembling this, I do want to tell you guys, we have two other ramps. This that I'm showing you is what I'll say our top of the end ramp, our Paralympic ramp, our I don't care about money and I don't care how much it costs, give me the best ramp. So this is top of the end. We call it the hammer. We really tell people, hey, if you want to win, if you want the best, get the hammer. So now it's locked, right? But all you have to do is loosen these here, and you get that, if I loosen it the right way, you get that adjustability back, right? So a few more features, and this is the point where I'm going to do my best to take this camera off and actually show you some of these closer. All right, let's see if I can do this. Okay, so what I did here is I connected the ramp with these aluminum hooks. Okay, here we go. I'm looking at the screen, seeing what you guys see. So these hooks connect each extension to the ramp. When you kind of go forward and push it back, it's connected, okay? And you have several different types of these ramp extensions and connections. What I'm holding we call the overhead extension. And the reason we call it the overhead extension is because it literally goes overhead, okay? It gets really high, and I'm going to take it off to show you a feature. So again, you're going to have to imagine here with me. So here, I can actually stick my hand through this, okay? These parts here, the ball is actually going to roll down the ramp. This one, I can stick my hand through, and the reason being is that this is actually above your head. See if I can show you this without breaking things. We have this extension that will actually allow you to place the ball. So you're looking at this side, okay? You're in a wheelchair, you roll up behind the ramp. This is right in front of your head, and the ball is sitting on this side, okay? Imagine with me. As you push this down, what we've done is we've actually designed a floor that removes completely. So you can stick your hand all the way through, all while the ball is resting right here on the top. So for someone who maybe is spastic or having a difficult time aiming their hand to push the ball down the ramp, this whole floor moves just for them. So whether they're using a head stick or a mouth stick, both of which we manufacture and sell, or they're using their finger, or they're using sometimes their elbow, they have every which way they can imagine to push the ball down the ramp. All right, let's leave that there for now. So when you're done assembling it, it looks like this. And really, you can do this in less than a couple minutes. It took me a little longer because I'm explaining things and I'm my own cameraman. See that electrical work? Does that freak anyone out? Hey, don't call the FDA on me. This is my own house, not Therafin. All right, so that is the hammer ramp, and that's enough of that for now. Please continue to visit gravityboccia.com. You can order Gravity Boccia products from Therafin, so you don't need to do an e-commerce purchase. You can go directly to Therafin. You can buy them with a PO. We have accounts already set up. The product is available to any Therafin customer. It does have Therafin part numbers, and it's just as easy as ordering anything else from Therafin. If you need a quote, again, our customer service is open as usual. It's 1-800-THERAFIN or info@therafin.com, and you can order or quote any of our Boccia products right now. All right, let me see. Dwayne Rhodes, you're doing great. Enjoying this for sure. Thank you. Is there an onboard level? Chuck, there is not an onboard level. Oh, Todd responded to this. Yeah, so a little bit about the rules of Boccia. There is an organization. It's called BizFed, BISFED, BizFed. The Paralympic Committee sort of pronounced BizFed as the regulatory organization that would oversee all regulation and rule setting of Boccia proper. So in order for each set of Boccia during the regional, national, international, World Open, Paralympic, each sort of a stage of Boccia competition, in order for all that to be uniform, the Paralympic Committee said, BizFed, I need you to write up documentation, I need you to monitor, and I need you to sort of lay down the hammer when people are breaking rules. So, in fact, the first rendition of our hammer started being purchased. People started competing at the Paralympic level, and one guy actually called us and said, hey, someone is telling us that there's a part on your hammer that is being used as an aiming mechanism, and that's not allowed. Now, long story short, the intention of that part on the product was not to aim, and under our sort of belief system, we didn't think it was wrong. But BizFed said, hey, it's an aiming mechanism. So we said, okay, well, that's fine. So we went back. It was a 3D printed part that we did in-house. So all we did was redesign it, and we sort of continue to abide by those rules. So BizFed says what BizFed says, and any manufacturer whether it's a boccia ball manufacturer, ramp, or anything in between, we have to do what they say because the Paralympics said so. So it's actually pretty complex process. Okay, so that's the hammer. Again, this will be sort of my last thing on boccia. It is a growing sport. It is fast growing. We have 3 ramps. We're currently developing a 4th ramp, TBD, the release date. We have boccia balls that are currently, and I hate to say this because we love them and so do people, but they're off the shelves right now. That's simply because we sold out completely. And before we continued to manufacture those, we decided, hey, let's make them better. So we're in the process, and I will say the finishing steps of the process of making a better boccia ball. That's a big item because the main boccia ball manufacturer is overseas. So earlier I said we're the sort of the first ramp manufacturer. We're also sort of the first ball manufacturer that isn't coming all the way from Denmark or Portugal or somewhere in Korea. So we're seeing an opportunity here, and people love our products. So you'll see those balls back on the shelves very soon. And again, those you can order through Therafin, just like any other part. All right, no questions here. So here I have a new back with some different features here. Last week I showed you this PDG Bentley. I told you about our new curved backs, and what I have in the PDG Bentley over there is not a curved back, it's just curved foam. Just to recap, we do curved backs now, where in-house we're actually curving the plywood. So you're getting the same curved contour support without losing the seat depth. Very important. A lot of people are buying our curved backs, and our brand new, we'll say, 2nd edition catalog has a lot of that information in it. So we have a 2nd edition of our 2020 catalog already. Go figure. So here we have a few different products that I'm going to show you. So little kiddo seating system here. You just have your planer back. Orange, which is kind of fun. It matched our ISS backdrop, and that's why we made it orange. It is, or was rather, on a PDG T50 fuse. Could not find that chair in time at the shop. I went to Therafin yesterday to get some things. Couldn't find the chair in time, so I just took the seating system that I did find. Next week, we'll actually have the chair to show a few more things on. This is our multi-access back or headrest hardware. I showed you that last week. So that's one of our more popular headrest hardwares. And then you have a small version of our ProFit headrest, non-adjustable. So we have the adjustable headrest. This one here, non-adjustable. So you have the sort of adjustable multi-axis headrest with a non-adjustable, or headrest hardware with a non-adjustable headrest. This is here a smooth Dartex. We also have knit. We have sort of all sorts of upholsteries. And then the orange, that's included. When you buy a seating system from Therafin, all the different variations of color or fabrics are included in the cost of the seating system. Here you have swing away laterals. Push this button here, swing away. We offer proximal swing away, and someone help me out here, Todd. What is the other one called? There's one that swings away all the way like this, and there's one that swings away right at this hinge here. But we offer both. So here you have one version. The embroidery, it says Therafin, of course, but we also offer embroideries of names or of words. Anything that can fit right here, we offer, and that is also included in the cost. Back here, you have some summer-winter hardware. You have, man, I'm blanking right now, but you have the same kind on both left and right. A lot of times we have different kinds. What is this called? The not infinitely adjustable, because there's notches here. If anyone in Therafin's listening to me, maybe you can help me out here. I'm blanking on some of these different product names. But you also have your molded J&L hardware here. I showed that last week on the PDG Bentley over there. And the nice thing about the molded J&L, I sell this everywhere I go, every time I see a seating system, every time someone asks about hardware, because molded J&L gives you the same utility as the traditional J&L, but you're not putting hardware all over the floor trying to adjust it. So what it does is it just sits onto the canes. Imagine the canes here, and then there's a little swing away that locks it in on both sides. So it's in and out. You have that same JL adjustment, but you can do it all without hardware going everywhere. All right. Let's see. I think Todd might have said something here. Pin style summer winter. Thank you, Todd. So the pin style summer winter is what I was blanking on just then. So a few more products here. I want to show this again. I showed this last week. This is one of our more popular items. It is the Flex Your Feet. Just the Velcro. We also have one that's Velcro and buckles. So Velcro on, foot in. You have this ABS plate that would actually slip into a channel right there at the bottom, and then you would bolt that to the actual wheelchair foot plate. If you need something more secure than the Velcro, you can get buckles on top of the Velcro as well, though I will say the Velcro alone is very heavy-duty Velcro. Oh, what else? I'm going to leave some time for questions. I think I've been babbling away for about 30 minutes now. Yeah, I don't want to waste too much time speaking on stuff that I spoke about last week, because that's all in the video that you can look at in the library. But I want to, hey, Steve, I want to leave it open for questions. Are there any questions? Looks like there's 23 people tuned in right now. I think there are a few Therafin folks on the line. If I can't answer them, I'm sure someone can. But what do you guys need? Is there any comments, any questions, anything you guys want to share? Any funny jokes? How is everyone doing? I know this is such a unique time. Or any suggestions? I'm going to be doing this every Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Is there anything else you'd like to see? I can always go back to Therafin and get specific products. I can talk about a part of the industry and Therafin world that maybe you need to know more about. I can do whatever. I mean, really, just let me know. I don't want to waste people's time. I want this to be a valuable time each week. Todd says the material for the headrest is a custom material we created. It has a rich, soft feel, laminated Dartex, like cover laminated to a neoprene backing. Okay, thanks, Todd. Brian Reese, love the shoes. Premium in-house slippers. Yours truly. These are my only shoes that I wear here. Show the center mount tray next time. Okay, Chuck, I'll do that. Let me make a note of that right now. Center mount tray. I might have to get that ordered, because I don't know if one of those are sitting on the shelves right now, but I will absolutely get one of those next time. Center mount tray. Any other products that you guys are interested in? Or Chuck By says the VA loves them. Great. Good to know. Any questions about Boccia? Any questions about anything? I can talk and babble for as long as I need to. Don't need to babble on longer than you want me to, though. So yeah, Todd asks, do you want a detailed training on anything specifically? And oops, I'm messing up here. We can give a training on whatever you need. More overviews. Yeah, so do you have arm trough? Raquel Arias, we do. We have two different arm troughs. We have an economy arm trough and a molded arm trough. And we also have a brand new product you can see on the homepage of Therafin, Therafin.com. It's kind of one step down. There's a little slideshow. One of those slides being a sort of crossover between a half tray with contour support and an arm trough. And what you can do now is you can actually call in and say, I'd like that contour support half tray made as an arm trough. So it's not exactly an arm trough, and it's not exactly a half tray. We showed it at the last few shows, and people love it. So I do recommend actually trying it out. It may even be better than a typical arm trough would be. Do you have, or have you thought of a low friction headrest cover for someone who moves a lot? Tim, I think we may have a solution for that already, but Todd may be able to speak a little bit more on that, because I know some of our materials actually would be better for someone with low friction. Like, I don't know, I mean, the smooth Dartex is a pretty good option. Obviously, knit would be sort of high friction. It would stop you from moving quite a bit. But you want low friction. Yeah, I think Todd can respond a little bit more to that. So far I have the center mount tray. I'll bring that in. Todd says Teflon lining. Tim, would that work for you? I don't know. And Raquel, what I'll ask you to do is email me if you're interested in that arm trough, or call 1-800-Therafin and mention, hey, I saw Daniel on YouTube Live and he mentioned the brand new half tray with contour support that could be used as an arm trough. They'll know what I'm talking about and they can actually help you get a quote or even a custom quote if needed. Great, Todd. I'm glad that you could help Tim there. I know I have a lot of my Therafin reps on here. That's great. I miss traveling. Usually I am traveling full time. I both miss traveling and am glad I'm home. So I've been spending more time with my wife in the last month than I think I ever have in our marriage, which is really exciting. Actually, I've been enjoying it. And I have traveled less in the last month than I have in years. And I think a lot of you can probably relate because we're all being forced by our respective governments to stay at home. So hoping that the weather starts to pick up and get a little better so I can mulch some of the beds outside and get rid of some weeds and actually do stuff outside. But until then, I'm stuck looking at my basement and hoping that it gets finished soon. So I know I'm going to do a little bit of work on it this weekend, which is good. All right. A few more minutes here. I know some people are signing off. I just want to keep some extra time or in case someone has another question. Stay on for a couple more minutes. Just looking at my phone, waiting for questions coming in. Yeah, Chuck, it won't finish itself, unfortunately. That would be nice. If someone here can invent that, I think we can all retire. A self-finishing basement. I don't even know how to wrap my mind around what that would mean. Robotic, surely. Thanks, Steve. Stay safe. Say hi to your wife and to little Frankie. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Okay, guys. Looks like everyone's just about done asking questions. Reminder, our email, info@therafin.com, and our phone number, 1-800-Therafin, are two of the best ways to get a hold of our customer relations department. We are ordering, we're inputting orders, we're doing quotes, same as usual, Monday through Thursday before 2 p.m. Central Time. If you have a quote request, you'll get a quote that day. Custom quotes, we're fast. We turn those around usually in 2 to 3 days, usually much less, depending on how custom it is. Of course, it might take long, up to 2 or 3 days, but a lot of times our custom quotes are same day as well. Our orders are still shipping. We are still in full operation. So looking forward to continuing to meet some needs. Please, if you think of something between now and next Thursday, email me, Daniel, B, D-A-N-I-E-L, B as in boy, @therafin.com. Do subject line Therafin Corner so I can kind of categorize that in my brain. But have a suggestion or want to see a product or want me to talk about something specifically, I definitely want to hear that. I think next week I'm going to actually figure out how to bring someone on as well, whether it's via video or sort of like a phone call so you guys can hear from more than just me. So, all right. Thanks so much for coming, guys. Take care. And we'll see you next Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time.